all of the details yet. We do know this is a possible stolen car, so that is a possibility. But again, don't know. But oftentimes, Peter, we see many times in pursuits when somebody circles around and around and around in the same neighborhoods, in the same areas, they're usually from that area. They know the streets. They know where their friends live and family members are, and sometimes they'll end up back at their family member's house, their own house, or like our retired Riverside police officer told us on the phone, looking for a place to bail, just like he said.
And, he's reversing.
Okay, we do have Chuck Griffiths back. Chuck, I don't know if you're able to see this, but it looks like
a limousine.
This car is now blocked by a limousine on a residential street. The limousine just pulled over, and now the driver just blew through the stop sign intersection and is continuing on.
Right, yeah. And again, he's staying to the same neighborhood, so he's looking for some help from his friends or looking for a spot to get out and conceal himself.
And Chuck, I asked you this before, and I think we cut out, but what can law enforcement do? This guy keeps circling in the same area over and over and over.
Well, a lot of times when they go down the same streets, obviously we can plan ahead and put a spike strip out, flatten the tires. But at this point, he's going slow speed, so he's not really that big of a hazard other than to the officers and the citizens if he's armed with a weapon. It looks like the passenger was showboating there for his 15 minutes of fame.
So do you think that, I was going to ask you, do you think the passenger is showboating, or do you think he's signaling for help?
No, it looked like maybe he was throwing gang signs at one point, and he's just enjoying the attention, I think.
Okay, now we're losing him for a second under the tree. There he is back. So you believe that the passenger is not someone who's there unwillingly. This could be someone who's obviously in cahoots with the driver.
Yeah, he's had opportunities with the vehicle stopping and police cars all over the place to jump out. So it looks like he's part of this, whatever the driver's intentions are. They're just enjoying themselves now.
All right, so we have this pursuit, Chuck, right here in the middle of the day. We see pedestrians everywhere, pedestrians who don't know that a pursuit is coming up to them, and people who are actively going out to watch this pursuit. We saw skateboarders riding alongside this pursuit, saw some other people that seem to be cheering them on. I've seen that before many times in pursuits. What's the danger level here for those people, and also what are the options police have to put this to an end when you have so many pedestrians around?
Well, yeah, that with the pedestrians coming out and looky-loos, it is a problem. It's difficult to use a pit maneuver if that's something they're looking at. They may not do that if they believe the subjects are armed. But people coming out of the house and looking, it just causes more concern for the officers, because now there's more people that can get hit by the car or be taken hostage or used as shields.
And Chuck, we're hearing that this Mustang may have been involved in some type of a violent crime, a shooting last night. Does that change anything? I know you mentioned that the officers are on heightened alert, but in terms of how they approach this vehicle?
Yeah, it'll be a high-risk stop, guns out, normal end to a pursuit. Most of the time at the end of the pursuits, high-risk stops are conducted, and, knowing that this is involved in a shooting, obviously they're going to take more precaution in getting the people out of the car.
Well, we've also seen many times, Chuck, now it appears I think you're right there, that appeared to be some gang signs being thrown by the driver of the car, who's clearly aware that the news choppers and the police helicopters are there up above, taking the last few minutes of freedom that this driver and possible passenger have to do this. At this point, he's really going very slow now. So what are the options here?
Well, again, the pit maneuver would be a good option. Spike strips would be a good option. I know people always ask if, why don't they just box them in? But that's a very dangerous maneuver. You're in front of the car. You're causing crossfire with the officers, front and back. So you don't want to get in front of the guy, and plus you don't want to push him to ram your car. So, the options are, again, the spike strips or a pit maneuver, and have all the units converge at the end there. Or, like we've seen in previous pursuits, they could back off on the ground. let him think he's getting away and let the helicopter trail him until he stops, and then the officers can come in.
It's almost alarming to continue seeing people standing on the sidewalk, taking photos, waving at these people. I mean...
But we see it all the time in
we
pursuits.
do, but if these guys are armed and there's a heightened alert for the officers, certainly that's not safe for the public to be approaching this vehicle either.
No, absolutely. They should be staying in their house. And I've found over the years that people don't get the reality of the situation or the gravity of the situation. They think it's a movie, and they stand back and they watch and they film it so they can get their videos on YouTube or wherever they download them to. And they're putting themselves in direct line of danger for, again, a couple of minutes of thrill of videotaping or seeing the pursuit go by.
Right. We just saw in our picture, Chuck, some people seem to be communicating with the driver. It's possible some of these people who are coming outside know the people in the car. If this is, in fact, a neighborhood they're familiar with or even live in, probably not the best idea to try to communicate with somebody in this situation, I'm guessing.
Yes, you're right. I'm sure he knows plenty of people in this neighborhood, and that's why he's driving through. And again, 15 minutes of his, last 15 minutes of his freedom and a little bit of fame on the TV. I don't know what we can do to solve that, but it seems to be a game for them to lead officers on pursuit.
You have to wonder, at what point do they finally just give up, stop, get out? I mean, obviously we don't have direct contact with them, but to just keep going just seems useless.
Right, yeah, they're not going to get away regardless, so the best thing for them to do is to stop and listen to the commands of the officers.
Well, looks like they're going for the option B that you said, get their last 15 minutes of fame here, and before they know it's all over. I would guess, Chuck, you could tell me, you would know better, that most of the people engaged in these pursuits know that once they stop and get out, or the pit maneuvers, put into place, or spike strips, that's it. So they know that 9 times out of 10, they're not going to get away. Right.
I've been involved in plenty of pursuits, and on the ground, in the helicopter, there's the opportunities for them to get away are very. But we've even got news media helicopters with long-range cameras, so we use that as a tool also. So they're not going to get away. They're just drawing out the inevitable and endangering other people's lives.
And just to recap for folks who may just be joining us, this was a reported stolen Mustang that may be involved in some type of shooting from last night. We know that there are 2 men inside this car here in Wilmington driving around Anaheim D Streets and Del Amo Boulevard. We have seen the passenger flashing what we believe may be gang signs out of the window. We do not think that this passenger was taken captive. We think that these 2 guys maybe in cahoots together. Ooh, look at this. Okay, so he swerved, he turned, and then he went. It seemed like he's getting a little bit more erratic here,
right,
picking up speed as well.
Speeding up a little bit, right? Yeah, I was wondering if that was just me noticing that, or if he seems to be speeding it up. Maybe he's growing tired of doing his little 1-car parade in his neighborhood, saying hi to all his friends and whoever he's saying hi to, and now he's picking up the speed again, and which is very problematic in these neighborhoods, because it's the middle of the day and people are outside, as we've seen throughout this whole pursuit. People on bikes, people on skateboards, people coming out to see, just the curious, which they shouldn't do. But nonetheless, there's a lot of people out there, and it creates a lot more danger for them.
And he is definitely now picking up speed. Earlier, he was almost just at a crawl, but now he's certainly gaining speed as he starts to turn very quickly. Looks like he is sort of leaving that residential area that he's been circling here in Wilmington, and now look at this. He's swerving. These turns are becoming a little bit more erratic. I know that he was driving on the wrong side of the road at one point. Also, he's been blowing through those stoplights, the intersections there. We do think that there may have been a gun thrown from the Mustang at some point. So these guys, obviously very dangerous, flashing gang signs, circling and circling and circling. We do believe that they are connected to a crime that occurred last night, a violent crime in this area. But at this point, it seems like they are not showing any signs of slowing down.
Okay, so this chase has been going on for about 45 plus minutes. We picked it up before we even went on the air here on CBS 2 News at 5. We're going to continue to monitor the chase in a lower portion of our screen and continue on with our daily news and keep an eye on this for you here as this person or people continue to lead police on a pursuit through the streets of Wilmington and in particular neighborhoods, Peter, as you said, on Del Amo Boulevard and some of the other areas surrounding Del Amo Boulevard in Wilmington. We will keep an eye on this pursuit for you and give you an update as soon as we can. In the meantime, a group of people who live in Sylmar held a march today to stand up for their city.
CBS 2's Joy Benedict shows us they say changes are needed to make sure their city is safe.
It wasn't a large crowd, but its message was strong.
To have a safer community for me and my family and my friends.
Esmeralda Cedillo showed up to stand up for her neighborhood.
Do you feel unsafe? At times, yeah.
The march to make Sylmar safe started on the corner where this group feels most vulnerable. After a security guard at the Food for Less was stabbed to death last month, Joe Lopez was trying to stop a homeless man from stealing beer.
We're tired of the whole entire San Fernando Valley, Lancaster Pond.